So in this video, I want to show you exactly how these 135 men have lost their skinny fat bodies by dropping their bellies, dropping their moves, and swapping it for pecs and abs. Some of them in as little as 11 weeks, some of them, full transparency, about 12 months. I'm not going to promise you that it happens overnight because it just doesn't. But if you do things right, it can be a lot quicker than you think. And over the past few years, I've been helping a lot of men fix their skinny fat physique, and I've learned a few things and quite a few common mistakes that pop up when trying to fix a skinny fat physique. And the bottom line is, fixing a skinny fat physique is a lot more difficult than just losing weight in general, because we want to lose body fat, but we also want to gain muscle. And some people can do that at the same time and some people can't. And that kind of leads you to that question, should I lose body fat first and then gain muscle? Should I go on a bulk and gain muscle and then lose body fat? And how do I lose the body fat without losing the muscle? And if you make any mistakes along those ways, you're likely to go back to the same result, being more skinny fat. You're going to lose muscle and you might gain body fat again if you haven't fixed the issue at the source. So in this video, I just want to cut straight to the chase and break down all the common things that most skinny fat men struggle with and what those solutions are to fix those issues. Now, the first most important thing I see the most common, and I even had a call with someone yesterday where this was the same issue, and that issue is that the diet needs to be sustainable. It can't just be a fad diet or something that works short term, because if it's something that works short term, you might think, wow, this is great, I'll just keep doing that, and then eventually it stops working, and then you fall off and you get distracted because it's unsustainable, and that leads you to either go backwards and then have to pick it up again, or you kind of run yourself into the ground. I'll give some examples, right? A few people I spoke to, I say the majority of skinny fat guys I speak to have tried fasting or intermittent fasting. And the issue with that is you got to starve yourself. You're literally not eating. There are benefits to it in terms of digestion and managing your hunger and inflammation, etc. But if you're talking skinny fat where we want to lose body fat and keep muscle, it's probably one of the worst things you can do, because if you're not going to eat for several hours on end, your body then gets put into a catabolic state. And if you're in a catabolic state, guess what? You're going to lose and waste away muscle tissue. So if you're trying to fix skinny fat by not eating, you're going to get skinnier, but you're not going to gain any muscle, and you're going to lose muscle for sure. I honestly can't count how many times I've had a guy get on a call with me or send me a DM on Instagram saying, hey mate, I'm skinny fat, I want to lose body fat first, I need to gain some muscle, but every time I do a diet I end up losing more muscle. And I say, cool, what have you tried? And they go, well, I've done fasting. I'm like, I'm not surprised. Now, can you fast slightly to lose body fat? Yes, but if you're talking like 7 hours or intermittently or 36 hours like some gurus on the internet tell you to do, you're going to lose muscle, all right? So do not do fasting if you're struggling with skinny fat. And the same goes for diets like keto or carnivore, which are basically the same thing, because you're cutting out carbohydrates. Yes, you're going to be in a calorie deficit, and yes, you'll lose body fat if you're in that deficit, but long term, you're going to have problems with your cholesterol levels. There's a lot of influencers now going on about keto and carnivore, and now they've come forward saying they've got problems. Right? And a lot of the times the people that are giving out this information are just jumping on a trend to get some attention, or they just, they haven't done it long enough to realize it's going to be a problem. All the people I know personally that are trying to push the carnivore diet have only done it for a week. So of course they still feel great because they've still got residual glycogen from the carbs they were eating last week. The diet needs to be sustainable and long term, because even if you do magically somehow get the physique that you want following an unsustainable diet, how are you going to keep it at the end of it? So we need to fix that issue. Now I'm going to break that down in a little bit more detail later on in the video and sort of give you some tools to be able to do that. But that is the most common thing that I hear and see. And I'd say most transformations start and end with the diet. So doing, even 1 meal a day. I've had people comment on my YouTube channel saying, just do 1 meal a day, bro, works great. And it's like, okay, well, if you're massively obese and you struggle with eating and it's a habit, then sure, maybe 1 meal a day might work for you. Or if you're crazy busy and that's what you've got time for, yeah, there's benefits to it for sure. But if you want to gain muscle and lose body fat and you're not going to eat for 23 hours, you're going to go catabolic, you're going to lose muscle, and you certainly won't be gaining it. And again, even if you can do that for a week, which is going to be a challenge in itself, how are you going to sustain that 12 months to get a full transformation? It's just not realistic or sustainable, which is why people keep falling off. You're not actually fixing anything, you're just sort of putting a band-aid over a bullet wound. So diet side, sustainability is super, super important. Whilst I'm talking on that topic, I do have a nutritional blueprint in the bio. Loads of you have already downloaded it. If you haven't had it yet, just download it. It's completely free, and I will explain why that's important later on in the video. Now, the second issue, and again, they kind of all go hand in hand. I feel like most skinny fat men do the same things when they're trying to lose body fat. A lot of guys think, right, time to lose body fat. I want to get in shape. What's the first thing I should do? They do cardio, right? And cardio is great. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying don't do cardio. I'm saying that you shouldn't be doing too much of it. Now, I've told a story about a client I've had before called Luke, and cut a long story short, he got in great shape, lost a load of body fat, gained muscle, basically fixed his skinny fat physique properly. Then he got distracted, kind of went into running and doing like marathons and stuff like that, and he nailed them, right? Very, very good job. And he went on his way and did that for about 2 years. And then it was New Year's night or New Year's Eve. And I get a message from him saying, hey mate, do you still have any coaching spaces? And I said, well, yeah, it's New Year's Day tomorrow. Of course I do. Let's get on with it. I was like, but why do you need my help? You've already done it. Like, what can I possibly give you now? He's like, well, actually, I kind of stopped lifting weights. I was still doing my diet, but I just did a lot of running, a lot of cardio to train for these marathons. And I've noticed that I've lost a lot of muscle and my body fat has slowly crept up despite doing all the cardio. And to really just simply explain that is your body adapts to what you put it through. So if you're doing loads and loads and loads of cardio, you're talking like, gym classes, going for like 5-10Ks all the time and doing no resistance training, then your body's not going to retain lean mass. So why would your body keep the muscle that you've got? And if your body loses lean mass, every pound of muscle you have requires calories to be sustained. So if you're losing pounds and pounds of muscle, your body now needs less calories to sustain itself. So you're basically, your maintenance calories come down. So it's a lot easier to then overeat and actually put it all back on, right? Even if you're doing the cardio. So cardio is still fantastic. It's healthy for you. It's good for your endurance. It's good for your body. It's good for your mindset. And it will help you manage your calories, but it's not going to fix it on its own exclusively. And if you do too much of it, you're going to get the opposite problem of losing more muscle. And actually, again, like I said, I've had a call recently this week with a gentleman who said, hey, look, I've done fasting, I've done lots of cardio, and all I've done is lost muscle and put on body fat a lot quicker. And I was like, that's the problem. So that's why I'm making this video really, is kind of just trying to, because it's not common knowledge, is it, right? You think I need to lose body fat. Cool, let's go for running and eat less. And it's like, you will lose body fat, but you're going to lose muscle and you're not going to sustain it. And it's not necessarily that healthy. So if I can help you, even if you watched the video just to this point, if that helps you out, then I'm very pleased it has. Now, leading on to the too much cardio thing, the next common problem is, and a lot of people don't realize this is a really good fix for skinny fat in terms of training, is we need a big focus on strength training. And that sounds a bit weird, right? You're eating less, so why would you be lifting heavier weights? Surely you're going to get injured, right? And that was my theory for a little while. And I used to do a lot of light weights to get toned and did a lot of cardio, hence why I lost a lot of muscle twice. I'll put some photos up here of me in the past between cuts and bulks. So I'll go on a bulk, gain a little bit of body fat, not gain as much muscle as I thought because my training wasn't great, my food wasn't great. And then I'd go, right, time to get on a cut, and I would just lose a bunch of muscle because I just did loads of running, loads of light weights, and ate too little too soon, which caused me to go catabolic and lose a lot of my performance, which wasn't great. So we want to get stronger. And there's a few reasons for that. One, lifting with resistance is going to obviously burn calories. It's a great way to train. Two, you're going to break down muscle tissue slightly. So when you eat your protein and you're in a deficit, your body's going to lose body fat because you're getting enough protein. Your body's going to hold a bias to the lean mass because you're putting it through the training. It's an adaptation. Your body needs muscle to keep up with the training that you're putting it through. So as long as you're hitting good protein, your calories in a small deficit, you're likely to retain more muscle instead of losing it. So it's just purely just putting your body through adaptation. And it's a little bit easier to focus on strength because if you're eating less calories, you've got less carbs, you've got less energy, you're probably going to get a lot less reps as well. Now, yes, fitness and conditioning can help that, but you're not got the same level of glycogen from carbs, so you're going to get a few less reps. Maybe creatine can help you out with that as well. Bottom line is, though, you're more likely to develop strength on a cut than you are to get more reps unless you're going super light. And again, if you go super light, you're probably going to lose muscle. So getting stronger and doing resistance training in the gym. It could be any, and I know saying getting stronger is quite vague. I'm not saying do 1 rep maxes and that's what you need to do. I'm saying try and overload your workouts. If you're doing 4 sets of 10, 80 kg on a chest press, cool. Can you do 4 sets of 10 with 85 kg? Or could you go up to 90 kg and do 3 sets of 8? Or maybe even a 5x5 system. As long as there's some form of progressive overload that requires a bit of strength improvements, you're far more likely to gain if you're brand new, plus keep muscle in a calorie deficit if you're trying to fix a skinny fat physique. And I put this to the test. That's how I've got all these transformations with these men. That was one of the key components. A lot of these men were playing tennis, doing marathons, running, and they still kept those up because they enjoy them and it's only going to help. But they were missing that key component of getting stronger in the gym. So they were losing muscle and not necessarily losing as much fat as they want. And they were stuck with the stubborn body fat around their bellies, face, and chest. As soon as we put in the strength training, they were able to clearly overload and push each week, and we reviewed it. We saw a hell of a lot more progress, and by the end of it, they actually could eat more once they reverse diet and sustain it. So getting stronger is very important. Now, that kind of leads me on. I've kind of dropped a few hints on here, right? So the last point I'm going to make is very important. So make sure you wait until the last point, because a lot of people skip this last step. And before I get to that last step, and this leads into that last step, is we need to be tracking pretty much everything, right? And I don't mean like, how much piss did you have this morning? How heavy are your turds? I'm talking about tracking your calories and macros plus your performance in the gym, right? Yes, body measurements are good, progress photos are good, scale weight is also very important to pay attention to, but the most important things is tracking the calories and tracking the workouts. And the reason I'm saying that for you as a skinny fat guy is if your deficit is too big, you're going to lose muscle because you're going into a catabolic zone. So if you're like 1,000 calories, 2,000 calories below your maintenance, your body's not going to hold lean mass and you certainly won't gain any muscle. Whereas if your calories aren't low enough, they're kind of at maintenance, maybe a little bit below, maybe a little bit over, you're going to end up maintaining, and obviously if they're over, you're not going to get anywhere. So in your case, we want a small calorie deficit, somewhere between 300, 500. I normally recommend 500, so if you mess up, there's still a bit of a wiggle room, because there's a few reasons that's going to help you. One, you're going to keep more muscle. 2, your performance in energy and recovery in the gym is going to be a lot better. 3, you're less likely to go catabolic. And 4, if you're brand new, you can still gain muscle because you still got your newbie gains, right? If you haven't been training in the gym consistently for like 2-3 years, you still got newbie gains you can have. So if you do it right, you can still lose body fat and gain muscle. Matt was able to do this. Leon was able to do this. Josh was able to do this. Shane was certainly able to do this. And Reese is probably the god tier level of, all of this transformation here was purely calorie deficit. So we gained a hell of a lot of muscle purely in a deficit because we had a smaller deficit that we adapted over time. So tracking your calories is absolutely essential. That's why I told you to download the nutritional blueprint so you can work out your numbers, but also work out how to set your macros and how and when to adjust them based on your body type. You can, of course, use online Google calculators or ChatGPT or anything like that, but they don't normally take into factor what's muscle, what isn't, what your goals are, the fact that you're starting with a skinny fat physique. So I would recommend you use that blueprint as a guide. And if you have any questions on that, you can always drop me a comment or a message on Instagram at Elite Transformation Project. So speaking of tracking, we also want to track the workouts, because if you're just going to the gym and you're going on the lat pull down, you do a couple of those and you do a bent over row and then you do a curl, and for some reason you're doing a squat on the same workout. Like, so many people just have these whack random training programs that are just a bit of everything. And the problem is with that is at the beginning, it's going to work because it's brand new. Like, you do any workout routine for 3 weeks, if you haven't worked out before, it's going to give you some results because it's brand new. So people think, oh, I got it. Get in there, mate. Get in there. And then they hit a plateau and they're like, what should I train? So they just keep doing the same workout routine and get nowhere. Or they just jump from program to program to program. They never really achieve any specific solid overload in one metric. So they kind of just plateau. That's why so many men hit a plateau in the gym. So you want to track your workouts, even if it's a really basic pull, push, legs program, or if you're really busy, an upper body, lower body program, or if you train every day, arms, chest, shoulders, legs, whatever. Whatever the training split is, it's got to be a training split that you can actually stick to long term. And 2, you want to track it so you can make sure that you're overloading continuously. Have you added any reps? Have you gotten stronger any lifts? Have you added any more volume to those lifts? Have you plateaued on some of them, which means it's probably time to make a little tweak or adjustment. Tracking the workouts will speed up and compound your results like tremendously. Like, that's why these guys that I show you all the time get ridiculous transformations quickly, because over time their workouts are compounding, their diet's changing with them, and those two things meet in the middle, and bam, they get a full transformation. And like I said, quite often times they do all of this in a calorie deficit, so they don't have to do, a cut, then a reverse diet, then a bulk, then a cut. Now some of these do, right? Who's a good example? I think Pierce is a good example of that. Avi's a great example of that. Avi's had to do, he started off quite skinny. We did a bulk, we did a recomposition, and we did a reverse diet. So he was basically went through the whole program, but he wasn't a newbie. He had already been in the gym for a long time. He'd already hit plateaus. So for him, it was a little bit more complicated. Whereas someone like Reese, who's completely brand new, he's only had a personal trainer tell him to do bloody star jumps. So for him, his body hyper responded. We were able to gain a lot of muscle in a calorie deficit. So it depends on you, depends on your genetics, depends on your starting point. But the bottom line is, all these guys track their workouts, track their calories, and was able to review them often. So the next point as well, this is kind of less commonly talked about in the fitness industry, is distractions, right? Distractions. Everyone's going, right, what's the best plan? What's the best diet? How do you get results, bro? Should I have an ice bath? Do I need to wear those weird orange glasses for whatever reason? Should I drink my creatine in my ice bath? Like, people are just looking for silly surface level rubbish. So let's say you work a 12-hour shift and you get home, you're shattered. It's not like, right, what's the most optimal training program then, mate? Because you're shattered, you're tired, right? Or shall I just, eat one meal a day even though I can't eat for 12 hours and I got a laborious job and I'm going to pass out? Like, people don't really factor things into the lifestyle and whether it's practical or realistic for you. And then when I'm talking, and then after, I've been a coach professionally for 7 years, but I've been doing this for over 10 years. And the biggest problem most people face is distractions. Is, hey mate, I know you're on a diet, but do you fancy 6 pints? Hey mate, it's sunny, do you want to go for a barbecue? Oh, I'm hungry on the way home, I fancy McDonald's, let me just stop by here. Oh, the missus wants a takeaway. Oh, we're going out for an anniversary, I'm going to my mate's birthday party, I need 10 pints. Like, these are the real things that most men struggle with. So I do get people on calls that want to work with me one-to-one. Like, I just need a plan, bro. I need a diet plan, I need a training plan. I'm like, cool, you can get that for free. Ask ChatGPT, Google it on YouTube. I've got free diet plan, fucking nutritional blueprint in my bloody bio. I actually have given out a full practical guide on getting in shape. But guess what? These guys still don't get the results. Why? Because they got all the knowledge, but they're not applying it. So the distractions is one of the main things. And that's how most of these men got the results. It wasn't just the planning, it was the fact they had me to help them do it. I was able to help them implement it. I was helping them to manage their distractions, help keep them focused, help keep them motivated, but also just to support them and stay on track throughout the whole journey. Because if you're trying to diet and lose body fat as a skinny fat on your own, the chances are you're not hanging around with 5 people doing the same thing. So if you're hanging around with 5 people that aren't doing that and they're going out on the weekends and drinking, your partner wants to go out for a meal, it's a lot more difficult to stick to and be flexible with. I'll be honest with you, it's about 99% of people need the help. That's the bottom line, but people don't want to admit it. And after being in this industry since I was 14, I'm 33 in July, I've learned that to be true, which it sounds biased because I'm a coach, right? Of course, the coach is going to say you need a coach, but I'm just being honest, right? Doesn't even have to be me. Doesn't it? Go and get another coach. Like, this video isn't to sell you anything. I'm just trying to pass on information because I've learned a lot working with these men. It frustrates me seeing people give out misinformation, which does my head in. Anyway, bit of a side tangent. Let's get on to the last and final and very, very important point here, especially if you're skinny fat, and that is reviewing. Reviewing your progress and reviewing your planning. So many men have such busy weeks and they just go through the motions. They just go to the gym when they can. They try and cut out foods and then they fall off on the weekends because they're tired or they got distractions and they don't really stop and review. And what happens then is 8 months goes by. You look back at your progress photo and go, bloody hell, I look the same. Or sometimes, oh, you look worse. And I've got a lot of friends that will post their pictures on Instagram and social medias and they're like, hey, here's my 1 year transformation. And you can't tell. You just can't tell. And some, I don't want to be rude, but I've seen some, and I won't be putting up the screenshots on here because I don't want to be rude, but I've seen some where they posted it and the before photo looks better than the after, where they've just been off. And the reason that happens is they haven't been paying attention throughout that whole journey. So they've just wasted 8 months to a year. Some people 3 years. It's ridiculous. So reviewing is very, very, very important. With my clients, we review every single week. And what this allows us to do is it means we can look through everything. We can go through the food and go, right, is that correct? Is it getting you progress? Are you hitting the targets? Is your scale weight where it should be? Are we seeing visible progress? Are the progress photos looking different every week? Is the performance in the gym improving? Because if one of those things isn't working, we can fix it, tweak it, or change it, or adapt with it so it continues to work. Whereas if you just do the progress, go through the motions, it's like using an axe against a tree without looking. It's not going to really work. Eventually it's going to get blunt and then you're just wasting your time. You need to stop, sharpen it, accuracy. Stop, sharpen it, accuracy. You can get that fucking tree down in 5 swipes compared to the 20 blunt. Is it working? Oh, actually, it's not working. It's never going to work. You need to go back and, reassess. Shite analogy, but I'm trying to make a point that you need to review things. That's something that I do with my band. I do it with my business. Like, Coca-Cola, they're going to do quarterly reviews. They're going to do monthly reviews. They might even do fucking daily, weekly reviews. They're not just going to go, right, here's Coke. Let's hope this business goes well. 8 months later, right, have we made any sales? We haven't. Well, what's been going on then? I don't know who's been paying attention. Do you know what I mean? If something's important to you and you've got deadlines and you want to make something happen as quick as possible, you need to be reviewing weekly. So just to break that down, so this is a bit more practical for you, is we do daily weigh-ins, we do a weekly progress photo, we track all the food and macros and calories all in one place, we track the workouts. There are other things we can track, how are they feeling, what's their week, is a week a busy week, is it, there's a lot more that goes into it, but those are the basic data points that we pay attention to. And then each week I'll review it and make sure everything looks good. And if it's not, we can jump in and make adjustments. If things are going well, we can keep it the same. And 9 times out of 10, like every 2 to 3 weeks, you look for it and go, okay, cool, the calories need to change, the macros need to change, the workout needs to change. That really is the sort of key to fast results, is being adaptive. If you don't adapt with it, you're going to hit a plateau, get stuck and fall off. And as you can tell, it's quite a lot of points there, right? You need to make sure your food's correct. You need to make sure you're not doing too much cardio. You need to make sure you're training for your goals. You need to make sure that you manage it around your busy lifestyle and all the chaos in life. You need to make sure that you're reviewing things. It's quite a lot and it can be quite overwhelming. And that's why people are selling like, oh, just fast, mate. Oh, just do cardio, mate. Just take trend, mate. Everyone's just trying to throw out like this really simplicity. And I like that. I like simple. I really do. Do you think I want to sit and track my food? I bloody don't. But I do it because I know it's a necessary evil to get the results. So the whole point of this video is that's how these guys manage to get amazing results. None of them take any drugs. None of them have any exceptional genetics. All of them have, junk food here and there. A lot of them drink alcohol, which I wouldn't recommend, but they do fit it in and make it work. It's having a strategy and accountability to implement it. That is the key. That is the secret. That is the reason these men have got amazing results. Whereas some of these guys, Ross, for example, literally said to me, he's been trying to do this for 10 years. And we managed to do it in 16 weeks. Like, it's insane. I'm going to show you a female client, right? Yes, I know I mainly coach men, but this is Alex, right? She tried Beachbody. She tried keto. She tried fasting. She tried gym classes. She almost got bloody weight loss surgery, mate. She almost got the gastric band and all the choppy chops. And she just took a final, like, fuck it, I'll work with this guy, Sam, because she knew me from my band. Shout out my band, Avera, spelled with 2 I's. And she lost 175 pounds naturally. And about 160 of it was in 1 year. And there was no starvation. She still had her fried pickles. She still ate quite a lot more food than you'd expect. It's just how it works. If we didn't work together, that wouldn't have happened. With Ross, if we didn't work together, he would be wasting more and more years. Maybe be trying to do the fucking Huel shakes and go, that'll work now. Like, there's always a little trend for people to jump on. They all like kind of pussyfoot around what you actually need to do. Manage the calories, manage the performance, review and adjust, get it done. And then if you struggle with that, maybe you need accountability as well. So yeah, a bit of a long video, a bit of a ranty one, but I sleep well at night knowing that I'm putting out helpful, realistic, honest advice. If you have any questions about anything at all, you can drop a comment. And if for some reason you're watching this and you do think I want to work with you one-to-one, I sometimes have spaces. I don't know, depending on when you're watching this. There'll be a link below to book a call with me one-to-one, just to see if you're a good fit. If it's not there, then I haven't got any spaces. And if you like this video, like and subscribe. If you want to learn a little bit more in detail what goes into these clients' transformations, check out this video. I hope that helps, and have yourself a great day.